Hello, friends and subscribers. Welcome back to my Cockatrice Commander series. I got some input from the last video, and I'm going to try to talk about just what's going on in the video. I'm just used to like 30-minute commentaries in the past and needing to figure out how to fill time. And with my Magic Duels video series, I didn't make commentary for that specific reason that, we're just watching, me play, a card game, and just finding stuff to say was kind of difficult. But for Commander, I've got a lot to say. So this is Jund. It's Karrthus, Tyrant of Jund versus Selvala, the last commander I played against, or the last commander I played with, excuse me. And I don't usually play Jund, but there's a lot of fun that can be had. I love black, I love red, and I love green. White can be kind of slow, and blue can be kind of slow as far as, just big, hasty creatures. And if you want to play with dragons, Jund is the way to go. If you want to use that, triple color formula and your chromatic lanterns and just have a big old toolbox, and you want to play with dragons, go for Jund, or Scion if you want to play with all your dragons. So yeah, this is the first time I've ever really tried out a Jund deck. I'm not a big fan of Prosh. I think being one-turn shotgun is kind of a dick move, so that's, not really my thing. But these games are fast. This is going to be a match. This isn't going to be just one game, because these went really fast, and it was a lot of fun. We both, knew exactly what we wanted to do with our decks, and it would just go back and forth between one of us, just getting everything out that we needed, and the other one getting stalled, and, just back and forth. So the first game, if you're going up against Selvala, your main goal is to kill Selvala and nothing else, because that is your opponent's main mana source. Once Selvala comes out, and either they pump her up with auras or instants, which is something that I haven't really thought of before that this guy uses, is, give you a target creature +X until end of turn. Okay, give her +5/+5. She can now tap for 7 mana. So, there you go. But seriously, once your first creature comes out in a Selvala deck, a 4/4, then you're tapping for 4 plus the mana that you had, so you're tapping for 8 mana to put out an 8/8, and now you're tapping for 12 mana. So it just gets really, really scary really fast. And I'm sure if you saw the last video, you noticed that. So I was able to keep Selvala down enough that he just did not have the mana he needed in order to get his game plan out. This deck, this Karrthus Tyrant of Jund deck, this is my first time trying it out. It has great, a beautiful mana curve, and I'm extremely excited about that, and I'm extremely excited about green, red, black. This is just like this is a shard I've never really played Commander in before. I'm used to like Mardu or Abzan, or I don't know, what are some non anti colors that I play. I don't know. I can't remember. Mardu and Abzan are, I mean, that and Timur, whatever. I don't know. I play that too. But anyway, so yeah, first time really competitively trying to play Jund, having a lot of fun with it. And as far as Tyrant goes, the gain control of all dragons when he comes out is not really that significant. I mean, if you're playing dragons versus dragons, or you're playing against Mael, where she's able to get out Balefire and steal Hellkite, then I guess that's what you'd use it for. But normally that ability isn't going to target a whole lot of things, isn't going to be of extremely good use for you. The thing that is going to be awesome with Tyrant of Jund is giving all your dragons haste. And a commander with haste, no matter how high the mana cost, and I'm serious about this, a commander with haste is a nightmare. In my play group, I play against a friend who uses Garza, the Grixis vampire, and he made a tribal vampire deck out of it, and she is as also 7 mana, but every time she comes out, nobody has a turn to respond, or time to respond, unless they've been saving up their kill spells, or they've been saving up their counter spells. And if you let Garza go off the turn that she comes out, you're going to be dealing with a lot of commander damage, considering she's flying, and it's not too difficult to get a Whisper Silk on her. Yeah, but, there we go. Won the first game. Sorry I didn't talk so much about it. I'm trying to focus on exactly what's going on. It's a little hard to do when you're narrating after the game, and you got to get into the moment while you're out of the moment, so I apologize for that. It's just something that we're going to have to deal with until I get some better equipment. But this guy right here, I cut off the right side of the screen, which would be a zoomed in picture of whatever card I'm selecting, but I just took it out because I thought it'd just be weird to see the chat conversation while I'm talking and be kind of distracting. But this goblin dude right here makes it so that Karrthus, Tyrant of Drun, costs 5 mana instead of 7 mana, or, any other dragon will cost 5 instead of 7, 4 instead of 6, blah, 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 you get it. So that's what he's for. Now I'm a little worried because I was not as lucky this game as I was the last game, where I would draw after draw, get a kill spell. First I had a Putrefy, and then I had a Terminate. And this is, a way for him to get his mana kick-started, at a, plus, I think that was the +4/+4, or whatever he did to get, I don't know, 10 mana out. So yeah, turn, 4 is it? He cast Ulamog, Ceaseless Hunger. Now I'm a fan of Ulamog the Infinite Gyre a lot more, because I have faced plenty of mill decks against a certain friend who loves playing Finax. And when someone's milling you for 20 or even 40 cards, seeing an Eldrazi Titan go in your graveyard is the biggest relief ever, because it's like, okay, shuffle it back in, you cannot kill me by milling, try again, sir. And usually that's their only win condition if they're playing a very, very heavy mill deck. What is more terrifying, well, by the way, first of all, Ceaseless Hunger is an absolutely gorgeous card. The new, and there we go, there's the second Eldrazi Titan. So I'm pretty sure you've already figured out who wins this game. Me and my Goblin, obviously. But he's been taking out my mana, and he's probably going to take out my mana again. I don't remember if he takes something out with Wasteland, or if he decides that he's going to torture me a little bit before killing me. But what scares me more about the Ceaseless Hunger than the Infinite Gyre is exiling 20 cards from my library whenever he just attacks, not deals combat damage, but just attacks. And as well as when he comes out, exile 2 permanents, not destroy. That's the difference between him and the old Ulamog. Now, as far as the new Kozilek goes, I think the old Kozilek is by far a better card, but for some reason, the new Kozilek seems to be a very viable commander, and does really well with colorless decks as far as commander goes. But if you don't have that 2 colorless mana that has to be colorless, not mana of any color, but, tap for 1, if you don't have that, you cannot cast Kozilek. It is just not going to happen. So you got to make sure you got enough mana that just taps for 1, or just taps for 2, Temple the False God, or Eldrazi Temple, or Wasteland, or stuff like that. So that's the only way you're going to cast those wastes cards. But being able to counter spells is really awesome. That's what he's doing with this Hydra over here. I cast Swiftfoot Boots. He discards his Hydra. It's 2 mana plus X. The X doesn't count. So discard 2 mana to kill 2 mana. Also, I haven't really decided over whether the new draw ability is better than the old one. Um, I feel a lot safer with the old one because it's just draw 4 cards flat out. Doesn't matter how many you have in your hand. But if you have 6 in your hand and you cast codes like with this one, you only get to draw 1 card because it's draw until you reach 7. You draw the difference between 7 and what you have. So I'm flat out completely open now with nothing to play. I mean, I can play Karrthus if I want. Woo! But, I'm not going to survive 3 turns. I thought I might be able to, it's doing, I don't know, 22 damage a turn. If in 2 turns I can find something, then maybe I can win because, in Commander I've got 100 cards instead of 60, so it will take more than 3 turns for Ulamog to kill me. But then this fucking artifact comes out and Kozilek becomes like a 30-30 or a 40-40. I'm like, okay, that's enough. I tried to stick on for a little bit, tried to see if I could pull some off, but that is, cut. End scene, game. You definitely got that with Kozilek. So in my competitive Salvala deck, which I might show you guys later, I don't know if I put the what's it called, the Somberwald Sage in there. I'd be really surprised if I didn't, but it might have just slipped my mind. So this is game 3, but in my Salvala deck, the Eldrazi Titans I put in are the classic ones because they just seem more powerful. And if you can go with the classic cards versus the new ones, it just feels more legit to go with the older cards for me. But and I know I shit on the new standard and Battle for Zendikar and Eldritch Moon, Shadows over Innistrad a little bit, and I apologize for that. But there are definitely some really cool cards in there. I just, whenever I look at a set, I look and see if I can use it in Commander and if I can use it in Modern. And just as far as going back into Standard again, there's just not enough in there to keep me interested. And I know right now pretty much the only competitive deck is Bant Company or Bant Humans. I haven't really seen anything else do a whole lot of damage besides back when, I'm not sure people still do this, but back when the Eldrazi, I forget what the guy was called, but the one that for 3, it was the only white Eldrazi ever made, which is just freaking weird. But it was a white Eldrazi for 3 mana. You pay 3 mana to exile a creature and bring it back, and do all sorts of bouncing horse shit. So, oh my god, that card was just ridiculous. And I like ridiculous. I like over the top. I like broken. I play Commander. That's what the game's all about, bending the rules. So when I see that in Standard, I'm like, okay, shit's getting cool again. They're not being afraid, and they're not, dumbing things down. But, even with all that, I just felt like there wasn't a lot of variety. It just felt dull, felt underpowered. Kaladesh seems like they just, wheels ran off the car and they're just going full throttle and they're just having a good time and having a lot of fun with that set. But boom, what is this? Turn 4, I crack off my Commander, a 7/7 haste flyer, and he does do some stuff. Tries to stay in there a little bit. Won't tell you what happens, but it's pretty much just like a solid game over, kind of like the last game was. Take a look at my hand, try to figure out exactly what happens. There's a specific creature I'm saving in my hand, waiting until something happens so I can cast it. And this certain creature that I'm about to cast, a friend of mine, the same friend who plays that Garza deck, and he's been around since, Magic's beginning, has been playing since like Arabian Masks or something like that. Doesn't see the use of this creature because you've gotta, get rid of some stuff. I think it's being pretty obvious right now, but, I think that getting rid of stuff is worth it because it made me freaking win the game, and it also gives me a dragon with haste in this case. So he's trying to add some, he's trying to get his pieces all set up, add mana, untap, add mana. He's got 8 mana so far, so I'm expecting something huge, something that's going to, rip me out of the water. But I'm confident with what I've got in my hand that I can get rid of it. And he ends up playing, wait for it. There we go, Regal Force. I'm like, alright, whatever. So draw 3 cards, is it? I'm not sure if it was mana, symbols, or creatures, but I think it's just draw 3 cards. And I'm like, okay, I got 5 cards in my hand. I'm going to be wasting 2. But I think it's time to go ahead and cast this and just, take the game. So we're going to go ahead and cast... we'll see. Oh, you already know. Don't bet on it because it's going to be super freaking easy to figure it out. Malfegor. We're going to cast Malfegor. And Malfegor says, discard your hand. Your opponent sacrifices that many creatures. So I could have waited until he cast some Eldrazi Titans or something, but I didn't want to risk it. So he's like, sack 5. Game over. GG! Alright, I've been having a lot of fun with these videos. Look for the next one. I'll see you guys later.